What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham GSM Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the September 4th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. Back in the studio this week with Kevin Patrick and Matt Camp, recapping all the action from Friday Night Show, which I thought overall, we didn't do a SmackDown audio review this week, but I thought it was a pretty good show overall. They got Roman Reigns and Finn Balor, progression in the women's division, advertisement for next week, a surprise appearance from Edge. So overall, it was a pretty good show. This edition of Talking Smack, kind of fairly middle of the road, nothing, overly, not newsworthy, but we got an update on Cesaro's condition from the show after being attacked by Seth Rollins, which you probably saw by now on WWE.com or on social media, whatever. But they recap all the latest happenings from SmackDown, including the ending to the show that saw Roman Reigns beat Finn Balor to retain the Universal Championship. They preview Edge and Seth Rollins 2 for next week's huge Madison Square Garden show and the contract signing scheduled for that show between Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. Kevin Patrick brings up how there's quote-unquote friction right now between the Mysterios after following Dominic's latest loss to Sami Zayn on SmackDown, and Ray kind of putting him in positions to lose right now, and what that might be leading to. No real development in that area. They're just continuing to tease tension. I assume the plan is to turn Dominic heel, which I'm kind of skeptical regarding. I'm not really sure how convincing of a heel he can be, but time will tell. Matt Camp says that Ray should just let Dominic fly solo and see how he does, so I assume that's the end game for this angle here. The first person we hear from on the show, as far as the interviews are concerned, with Caleb Braxton, is Sami Zayn, who says that congratulations should be in order for him. Less talk about the Mysterios and more talk about him for beating Dominic on Friday night. He said with the win, he proved that Dominic isn't on his level, and that he feels that if they want to do it again for a third match, he would beat him again. He would beat him a fucking second time. So from there, we go back to Matt Camp, Kevin Patrick in the studio. They replay the Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair confrontation that set up next week's contract signing, which will not really determine anything, but set the stage for the SmackDown Women's Championship match at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view later this month. They also replay the Dolph Ziggler and Tony Storm interaction backstage on SmackDown, where Ziggler offered Tony a spot at ringside for his match against Rick Boogs that he promptly lost in like a minute and a half anyway. And she said no, and she said that she was a Rick Boogs fan. So we actually get to hear from Tony Storm here, so she is still around, she is still alive. She's on the SmackDown roster. Prior to this week, we had not seen her on the show in probably 5 or 6 weeks, but she came back this week, and she says that Rick Boogs is the Van Halen in wrestling boots. Is Van Halen in wrestling boots, which I guess is a pretty good comparison. Rest in peace, Van Halen. And we hear from Zelina Vega, too. She interrupted Tony Storm mid-interview here, just kind of being her bitchy heel character, whatever. And she gives Tony Storm her shirt. And she kind of accuses Tony of disrespecting Dolph Ziggler. How could you do that? He's a legend. Why wouldn't you take him up on his offer to go to ringside for his match? Blah, blah, blah. You're making a big mistake. And that was about it. So I assume they're setting up another Tony-Zelina match, because remember, Tony's one and only appearance on SmackDown before this week was her in-ring debut, beating Zelina Vega back in late July. So they'll probably run it back again. Tony beats her again for a second time, I would have to imagine. Then after Zelina leaves, Tony brings up how she has her eye on Bianca, she has her eye on Becky Lynch, and she should have an eye on Vega. She's coming for that SmackDown Women's Championship. And she still has Zelina's shirt in her hand while she's talking about this. And Kayla asks her one final question saying, so what are you going to do with that shirt that Zelina gave you? And Tony said, well, I spilled something in the locker room earlier, so I'll probably just use this to clean it up, which I thought was great. So it was good to hear from Tony Storm for a change. We all thought she was either fired or dead or something, so I'm glad she's still around and wasn't kidnapped or something, because we haven't seen her in a good while on SmackDown. So anyway, we move along here. They recap the Seth Rollins-Cesaro segment from the show, the match. That's a Cesaro win by disqualification after Rollins got himself DQ'd intentionally. And Matt Camp offers a medical update on Cesaro, saying that he suffered a cervical strain. So I'm not sure how long that means he's going to be out. Maybe it's a week or two. If he'll be back to get revenge on Rollins. I would hope not. They have great chemistry. Friday was another good, enjoyable encounter between the two. But it's a match we've already seen a number of times this year. It's a feud that's been done to death. They got to move on from it, so I'm not exactly sure what that means. But at any rate, Matt Camp questions the Paul Heyman drama, playing both sides with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. What that means for next week's SmackDown, where Heyman's going to kind of fit into that whole situation. They preview the return of Brock Lesnar to the show next week at Madison Square Garden before recapping the match from earlier on in the night between the Profits and the Usos that saw the Profits win by disqualification. We hear from the Street Profits to close out Talking Smack here. Montez Ford says they made a statement with their attack on the Usos, their DQ win over the Usos, and they're coming for their SmackDown Tag Team titles. And Angelo Dawkins adds that they're scared. Not they're scared, but the Usos are scared of what's coming to them. So that was really all about it. That was really about it from the Profits. They sang their way out, and that was about it. And Matt Camp brings up one last point before they close it out here, saying that the Bloodline always have a plan, and we'll find out what that plan is. We might find out what that plan is next week on SmackDown. And speaking of which, they recap, or rather preview SmackDown for next Friday, that will see the return of Brock Lesnar to the show, Edge versus Rollins 2, and the contract signing between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship at Extreme Rules. So pretty home addition to Talking Smack this week. Nothing bad, obviously, but I thought it did a decent job of setting the stage for next week's SmackDown, recapping all the events from Friday night, which, that again, overall was a good, enjoyable show. And I look forward to seeing what they have in store for SmackDown next week. I'll be there at Madison Square Garden, so it should be a very memorable, enjoyable show. Real one quick note, also joining me next week for SmackDown in MSG is Alexis, who is standing right here beside me right now.
Hi, everyone.
She just wanted to drop in and say hi.
Yeah, I wanted to say hi because we're in Chicago right now.
For All Out Weekend.
Yes.
So, going to SmackDown next week. I was at SummerSlam 2 weeks ago. I'm at All Out tonight. We are all out. We're at All Out tonight.
I'm so excited. We're also wearing matching CM Punk shirts. So
yeah, we got a Rampage on Friday.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I'm very excited. So, hi, everyone.
Okay, this is a Talking Smack review, not an All Out preview, but that's about it, guys. I got to wrap it up, so be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit the bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have a great one, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews for Alexis. We'll catch your ass down the road.